Good evening, and welcome to the Milford Boys Volleyball 2018 Senior Night. Tonight we celebrate the dedication, passion, and success that the senior athletes have brought to the court over their time as part of the program. First, we'd like to take a second to recognize the seniors from Taunton. As I'm sure their team and coaches would agree, this year's senior class from Taunton is not your average class. Coach Marshall and I remember seeing them out on the court during their sophomore year and thinking, those guys have a ton of potential. Later that season, they beat our team 3-1 and have only gotten stronger and more experienced from there. Despite being on the losing end of our matches recently, there is not another team that Milford athletes have more respect for. They are a classy group of guys who work hard each match and have earned all of the success that they've achieved. Tonight we look forward to a competitive match where both of our teams for the tournament. Now we'd like to present the Taunton seniors with a token of our appreciation for their dedication to the sport and challenging us to become a better team. Number 1, Lance Ball. Number 2, Malik Charles. Number 3, Lance Eskil. Number 6, Ricardo Del Fonseca. Number 8, Mark D'Souza. And number 10, Alden Hunter. For the Milford Volleyball program, this is a smaller group of seniors, but one that has made the 2018 season an unforgettable one. Only 2 of our 4 seniors see regular time on the varsity court, but each one has contributed an impressive amount of passion and dedication to the program. All 4 athletes are the guys who run through the gym with a smile on their face and keep their teammates up during matches. Their composure and authentic passion to compete in any sport has made them great role models for their younger years. Most importantly, their leadership helped guide the team to a Western Alliance Conference championship in just the team's 2nd year in the league. There is too much to say about their strong character and athletic contributions in this short speech, but I am confident in saying that their impact on the program will be felt for years. At this time, I'd like to call up each senior to present them with a gift and a bouquet of flowers. With a bouquet of flowers that they will pass along to their parents or a family member in appreciation for the constant support they have given them over the years. When your athlete's name is called, family members, please come down to the floor to receive the flowers and take a picture against the back wall. Take a picture on the iPhone against the back. A 1-year member of the volleyball program. Outside hitter, Mikey Valentine. A 1-year member of the Milford Volleyball program, middle hitter, Pancho Amenmente. Simon. A 3-year member of the volleyball program, right side hitter, Chris Rivera. Okay, good. Go first. And our sole 4-year member of the volleyball program and 3-year varsity starter, Captain Milford.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and welcome inside the Milford High School Gymnasium on the campus of Milford High School for this presentation of Milford High School Athletics on Milford TV. Hello, everybody. My name's Anthony Mazzini, taking you through all the sights and sounds of today's game, and it should be a good one. Two of the powerhouses in boys volleyball in the state of Massachusetts, the Milford High School Scarlet Hawks and the Taunton High School Tigers. As I mentioned, two of the powerhouses, Milford coming in at 14-3 on the season, 13-1 in the Western Alliance League, whereas Taunton still has not suffered a loss yet this season. 15-0, 11-0 in the Southern Alliance League, and get this, Taunton, out of 49 sets played, has only lost 4 sets all season. One of those games when they didn't lose any sets was a game back in March against the Scarlet Hawks. Taunton came away with a 3-0 victory over Milford in that game. That game was played on the road in Taunton for the Scarlet Hawks. So Milford looking to get a little bit of revenge tonight. It's also Milford's senior night. Milford celebrating the accomplishments of 4 seniors, Andre Oliveira, Bekongcho Aminmense, Christopher Rivera, and Mikey Valentine tonight here inside the Milford High School Gymnasium. So Milford not only looking to avenge the loss against Taunton earlier in this season, but also hoping to send these seniors out on a high note. Starting lineups in the national anthem coming up right now. We'll get back to the action in just a few minutes right here on Milford TV. It is game time here inside the Milford High School Gymnasium, and Milford TV is happy to bring you this boys volleyball matchup. Milford High School taking on Taunton High School in a battle of two of the best teams in all of the state of Massachusetts. Milford will serve first. Gio Boaventura sends it over the net, and we are officially underway inside the MHS Gymnasium. Lance Law flicks it over for Taunton. Now Milford gets a shot. Joshua Orellana flicks it over and does the same. And now right at the net, Lance Law again setting it over the net and hitting the floor, in Taunton gets the first point of today's game, 1-0 Tigers. Mark D'Souza sending it over the net for the Tigers. Quickly received by Milford right over the net, and a good volley already ensued. Blocked at the net, setting up Tiago Filadelfo. He flicks it over a couple of blockers, but Taunton responds. Well received on the other end for Milford by Boaventura, and Milford quickly sends it right back over. A setup attempt for Colin Hunter is good for Taunton as well. Deflected at the net for Milford, but it falls out of bounds. It's Taunton with a quick 2-0 lead. Colin Hunter had 2 kills in the game versus Milford back on March 30th. That was a 3-0 win for Taunton. And Milford gets right back on the board that time, cutting the deficit in half, 2-1 in favor of the Scarlet Hawks, still in the first set. Tiago Filadelfo will step out of the game now and replaced by Tiago Carvalho. And Carvalho will immediately take the serve for the Scarlet Hawks. Received by Taunton. Hunter gets set up again, and another kill for the 6'2" junior. Colin Hunter gives Taunton an early 3-1 lead. Hunter came in with 85 kills on the season. Certainly knows what to do with the ball when he gets it at the line, and now a violation on Milford, and Taunton racking up the points early. Serving for Taunton is Gage Kingman. Leads the team with 155 digs, but he knows how to fill up the stat sheet. And another point for Taunton, courtesy of Colin Hunter. Again, that's now 3 points in a row from Colin Hunter. Brown with the kill attempt that time, but it goes out of bounds. As I mentioned, this Taunton team has only lost 4 sets all season, and they are off to a hot start early in this one, a 6-1 lead over Milford. Carvalho with the receive for Milford, and Milford gets it over with a couple of bumps. Setting up Lenz Esquill. And Coach Andrew Mainini wants a quick timeout for Taunton. 7-1, an early lead for the Tigers. been all Taunton so far. A lot of height for this Taunton team. Multiple players standing at 6 foot or taller. Lance Law, we saw him get the first point of the day for Taunton, stands at 6 foot. Malik Charles, we haven't seen much of him yet. He stands at 6'1". Lenz Esquivel, we just saw him with that most recent kill. He stands at 6 feet exactly. Ricardo Di Fonseca, who leads the team in assists, we'll get to him a little bit more. We'll be watching him as he sets up some of these taller players. He stands at 6 foot himself. A couple of other players, Colin Hunter, he had those 3 consecutive kills. He stands at 6 foot 2. So a lot of players for this Taunton team that are able to get up and spike it home. And Milford has had no answer so far. They did get a couple of deflections at the net with a few blocks, but ultimately those ended up falling out of bounds and resulted in a point for Taunton. Milford, on the other hand, doesn't have many players to counteract that height for Taunton. They do have a few players who stand pretty tall, specifically Zachary Brown, who stands at 6 feet, and as well as Tiago Philadelphia, who also is 6 feet tall. But overall, when you look at the height of these Milford players compared to some of these Taunton players, a clear height difference on both sides. Out of the timeout for Coach Mainini, a 7-1 Taunton lead in the first set. Kingman with the serve, and Milford receives it cleanly. Setting up Brown, and the kill attempt is good. Zachary Brown, as I mentioned, one of those players that is on the taller side for Milford. His first kill of the day, he had 3 when these two teams matched up back in late March. It's now 105 kills on the season for Brown and counting. And serving for Milford is Josh Orlana. Received by Taunton, but not over the net. A little bit of confusion at the net that time between Hunter and a couple of his teammates, and ultimately it results in a point for Milford, 7-3. So a couple of quick points out of the timeout for Coach Mainini and Milford. Orlano with another serve, but it goes out of the back line, so a point for Taunton, and they get the serve back. And serving for the Tigers is Lance Law. Brown gets it over the net, evading a few blockers at the net. Setting up Malik Charles, and it's deflected at the line by Andre Oliveira. And it goes out of bounds, so another point for Taunton, that time for Malik Charles. Coach Mainini out on the floor, instructing some of his players, not happy with maybe a rotation that time for Milford. And Charles again with another point for Taunton. That ball was barely over the line, and all Charles had to do was jump up and touch it over the net. And an easy point for Charles and Taunton, 10-3 early. Lenz Esquivel wasn't able to do anything after that volley. A few blocks at the net resulted getting the ball to Esquivel, but he wasn't able to do what he did a few plays ago. And that resulted in a kill. And that point goes to Milford, and the serve goes back to Milford. Andre Oliveira with the serve, and it ends up with a point for Zachary Brown. Andre Oliveira, a senior captain. It is senior night here in the Milford High School Gymnasium. The only 4-year member of the varsity program is Oliveira on this current team right now. And he's a 3-year player for the varsity team as well. Andre Oliveira is one of the best players for this Milford team and was named captain because of it. Blocked at the line by Brown and Rivera. And Milford gets another opportunity. Rivera sends it over the net, received by Taunton. Blocked by Brown on the kill attempt by Hunter. And Milford is right back in this one, 10-7. Milford having success with Oliveira serving the ball. No aces yet for Oliveira. He does have 29 coming into the game today. Oliveira to the back line. Kingman receives it, but not effectively. And another point for Milford as the ball deflected to Kingman's left behind the Taunton bench. That timeout for Coach Mainini seems to be paying dividends right now. Kingman receives this one more effectively this time, and it sets up Law. Law sends it over, but received by Milford, but a violation on the Scarlet Hawks side. And Taunton gets a point and the serve back. 11-8 in the first set. Sets are played to 25 points. And the first team to 3 sets comes away victorious. Received by Boaventura. Brown gets set up, and a kill attempt is good. Zachary Brown flying high, and he has a few kills early in this first set. 11-9, still in favor of Taunton, however. And Tiago Philadelphio checks back into the game, replacing Tiago Carvalho. Philadelphio didn't play much in the first game between these two schools back on March 30th, only played in 1 set. Didn't record any stats. A dig attempt by Brown is no good as it just flies right into the net. And a point goes Taunton's way, and they'll keep the serve 12-11. Excuse me, 12-9. Serving for Taunton is Lenz Esquill. He also plays on the basketball team. Milford beating Taunton in basketball on this floor earlier in the winter season. And Milford gets another point. A few sprawling attempts on the floor by multiple Taunton players, but didn't result in anything other than a point for Milford. And the serve goes back Milford's way. And checking into the game is Lucas Catano. Catano with 25 aces coming into today's game. Nothing that time received by Charles. Charles gets the setup, and the kill is good. Charles set that one up for a teammate, only to be set up himself after receiving the serve. A good little set play that time off the receive. And Taunton is back on the board 13-10. Milford and Taunton have one mutual opponent this season, that is Brockton. Taunton ended up beating Brockton twice this season, no losses against Brockton. Milford played Brockton once and beat them once. However, it only matters how they do against each other, and that was a 3-0 victory for the Taunton Tigers earlier this season. And they get another point here, 14-11, still ahead of the Scarlet Hawks. In that game earlier in the season back in March, it wasn't really close with the exception of that second set. Milford lost the first set 25-15. In the second set, it was closer, 25-23, as Brown's kill attempt goes over the back line out of bounds. Again, that second set, 25-23. That was really the closest set in that whole game. The third set ended up going Taunton's way, 25-18. Orlano with a flick attempt over the net, blocked at the net, by Law. Ultimately ends up in a point for Milford. Now Philadelphia will check out and replaced by Carvalho. And immediately after checking into the game, Carvalho will take this serve, sends it over with the right hand, received by Charles. Blocked at the net by Oliveira, but Milford wasn't able to keep it in play. It goes over towards the scorer's table, and Taunton gets a point. Kingman serving for Taunton. Received by Boaventura. Set up Oliveira, but it is blocked by Hunter at the net for Taunton. Hunter with 26 blocks entering today's game. He already has a few early in this match. Received by Boaventura. Played off the net by Milford. But the return hit goes out of bounds, and Taunton gets another point. Milford cut it to within 3. Now they're back up. Down by 6 to Taunton. Catano setting up Orlana. That's the guy you want setting him up. He leads the team in assists, but nothing going for Milford. Kingman receives for Taunton. Law sends it over the net. A good tip on Milford's end by Oliveira, sets up a good volley here. DeFrancesca, tries to set up one of his teammates, but ultimately falls to the floor on the Taunton side, and Milford gets a point back. Orlana serving for Milford. Leads the team in aces with 48 coming into today, but that's not an ace right there, right into the net. And Taunton gets the point and the serve back. Lance Law serving for Taunton. A high arcing serve into the air. An attempted dig on Milford's side by Carvalho, but deflects off his left arm sideways into the stands. Looks like it hits somebody in the stands over there, but nobody seems to be hurt. Law throws the ball very high when he throws it. Carvalho with the receive again, kept it high enough in the air so his teammates can play it, and Brown sends it over the net. DeFonseca sets up Esquill, but nothing going for Taunton that time. Another kill attempt for Charles, and he's pumped up after that one, and rightfully so, into the back right corner, and Taunton 4 points away from taking the first set. An extra ball ended up on the court that time. Good job by the officials to spot that out, and now we're back underway. Law a little bit too strong with that serve. Goes over the back line, and Milford gets the point back and the serve back. 21-14. Oliveira with the serve. Received by Kingman. DeFonseca sets up Esquill, and the kill is good for Esquill. Esquill came into today 10th in Division I Massachusetts boys volleyball in kills, and he's showing why he's in the top 10 right there. Taunton 3 points away from taking the first set. Sets are played to 25 points, best 3 out of 5. Another point goes Taunton's way after a violation at the net. Milford staring down a 9-point deficit in the first set. Taunton needing just 2 more points to take this first set. Hunter with the serve, received by Oliveira. Orlana sets up Brown, received by Taunton. DeFonseca sets up Charles, a flick attempt over a couple of blockers. Milford receives, sets up Boaventura. Taunton able to keep it alive near the bench, sends it over the net. Setting up Boaventura, and the kill is good. That was Zachary Brown with the spike and the kill. A little bit of traffic at the net, didn't get the best vantage point of who that was, but give credit to Zachary Brown for that one. You have to imagine this is Milford's opportunity to start a run here. Down by 8 in the first set. A violation on Milford. Orlana holding on to the ball a little bit too long on the set attempt. And now Taunton just needing 1 point to take the first set. Esquill with the serve. Received by Milford. Milford needs to get it over the net. They do, courtesy of Orlana. Saved by Milford after a couple of digs. DeFonseca flicks it over the net. He's usually setting his teammates up. Over 400, nearly 500 of them this season. But this time he does it himself. And Ricardo DeFonseca takes Taunton to a first set victory, 25-14 in that first set over Milford. And with this break in action, we'll take it 2 on Milford TV. Taunton with a 1-0 lead over Milford. They need 2 more sets to take the regular season finale. We'll be right back on Milford TV. Boys volleyball, Taunton versus Milford. 1 set down from the MHS Gymnasium. Anthony Mazzini with you. Taunton taking that first set 25-14, nearly deja vu back when these two teams played earlier in the season back at the end of March. The first set went to Taunton 25-15. So Milford dropping that first set. No playoff implications on either side other than obviously better seeding. Both teams have already qualified for the MIAA Division I Boys Volleyball Tournament, but obviously the more wins, the better come tournament time. Taunton 15-0 on the season, 11-0 in league play. Milford 14-3, 13-1 in league play. The first volley underway of the second set. Bumped by Boaventura, sets up a kill attempt, but blocked at the net by Taunton. Another kill attempt by Brown is no good, dug out by Lance Law. Taunton sets it up. Malik Charles aiming for the back left corner. A kick attempt on the Milford side, ends up in a Milford point. Excellent effort that time from the Milford side. And it results in the first point of the second set for the Scarlet Hawks. And you see Captain Andre Oliveira clapping his hands saying, "Let's go, let's go." He wants that revenge after Milford lost to Taunton at the end of March. But oh boy, Lance Law wants nothing to do with that. He just spiked that one to the ground, and I still think it's awaiting its return back to earth. Oh my, what a play by Lance Law. Leads the team in kills coming into today with 155. That puts him in 8th in Division I boys volleyball in the state of Massachusetts. A kill attempt by Boaventura is dug out on the Taunton side by De Fonseca. And a little bit of confusion as to whether or not that ball was still in play. It was. And after the confusion, it resulted in a Milford point, so 2-1 Scarlet Hawks. Serving for Milford is Lucas Catano. 25 aces coming into today's game for Catano. Sends it right to Kingman. And another kill for Lance Law is good. And he greets a new teammate on the floor. It's Lenz Esquill, and Esquill getting a little antsy on the bench, wanting to get back out doing to what he was doing earlier in the first set. He had a lot of kills, probably getting a little jealous of his teammate Lance Law. An ace that time for Kingman. That's 16 for him now on the season. Kingman, one of the best defensive players for Taunton. 155 digs on the season. A block attempt at the net is no good for Esquill and Hunter and results in a point for Milford. Both of these teams sit atop their respective leagues. Milford playing in the Western Alliance League, a 13-1 record in league play. Taunton undefeated on the season, 11-0 in the Southern Alliance League. De Fonseca setting up Hunter, but received on the other end by Boaventura on the diving attempt. De Fonseca setting up Law, aiming for the back left corner, received by Boaventura. Orlana with the spike kill attempt, but into the net, and Taunton gets the point there, back up 4-3. It's the last game of the regular season for Taunton. A win would improve them to 16-0. Law, De Fonseca, Hunter, aiming for the back left corner, but no good, just out of bounds. And Milford knots things up at 4 apiece. I mentioned earlier in the broadcast that these are two powerhouses in the state of Massachusetts. Milford, a top 25 team in the state. Taunton, according to Max Preps, is ranked 5th in the state of Massachusetts. Catano sets up Brown. He didn't get much on it, but ultimately results in a point for Milford anyway. Little confusion on the Taunton side, even though Brown wasn't able to get all of that kill attempt, still results in a point for Milford, and they're back on top by 1. Carvalho serving for Milford. Received by Kingman. De Fonseca sets up one of his teammates, and it results in the tying point, 5-5 in the second set. Taunton took the first set against senior night here in the MHS Gymnasium. Milford having 4 seniors on their roster: Andre Oliveira, Bekongcho Aminmense, Christopher Rivera, and Mikey Valentine. Excuse me. DeFonseca setting up Malik Charles. Bumped over the net by Brown. Brown at the net to block it. Sends it back over the net and into the stands. The ball goes. Good job on the net that time by Zachary Brown. Ended up bumped into the stands on the Taunton side, and Milford regains the lead by 1. This is the last game of the regular season for Taunton, but for Milford, they still have 1 game remaining. That game will be on May 27th against Agawam. So Milford playing 2 very tough teams in a row, as Christopher Rivera gets the kill that time for Milford. Milford, 2 very tough teams in a row on the schedule. Taunton 5th in the state of Massachusetts, according to Max Preps. To Agawam coming in as the 4th best team. The 4th best team, excuse me, a little voice crack right there. 4th best team for Agawam coming into the game against Milford on the 27th of May. So a couple of tough battles before Milford enters the MIAA tournament. Esquill serving for Taunton. Received by Carvalho on the Milford side. A kill attempt for Rivera goes into the net. And Milford and Taunton are all tied up at 7 again. Orlana sets up Rivera. He had no choice but to just flick it over the net. And Malik Charles, seeing a few blockers in front of him, Oliveira and Rivera, just flicks it right over them. Nobody was in the center of the court for Milford, and that's an easy point for the Tigers. Orlana sets up Oliveira, aiming for the back left corner. Instead, it ends up in the hands of Taunton head coach Toby Chaperon. Now in his 9th season at the helm of the Taunton Tigers. Taunton a 16-5 record last season. An improvement for Coach Toby Chaperon this season, now 15-0. And Taunton with a little mini run here, up 10-7. And we're going to get a timeout on the floor. And with the timeout, we'll take it to 10-7 in favor of Taunton right now. Milford hoping for another timeout spurt after this timeout, and we'll have it for you right here on Milford TV. In the first set, Milford did very well coming out of a timeout, getting a few quick points. Let's see if they can do the same thing here. 10-7 in favor of Taunton. Milford dropping the first set to the Tigers, 25-14. And it's Taunton's serve, received by Milford. Rivera sends it over a few blockers at the net. DeFonseca setting up a kill attempt, and it is good for Taunton. Law serving for Taunton, received by Milford. Brown flicking it over a few blockers, tipped on the Taunton side, but it ends up on the floor. And Milford gets a point back, and it'll go back to Milford's serve, and serving for Milford is Andre Oliveira. Oliveira filled up the stat sheet when these two teams played on March 30th. A kill, an ace, and 3 digs. Malik Charles with the kill attempt, blocked by Milford, and they'll set up a potential kill attempt themselves. Boaventura sends it over a few blockers. Tried the spike attempt that time, blocked at the net. A kill attempt for Taunton goes right into the net. Little intimidation on the Milford side with multiple blockers going up for it. And it ends up with a point for Milford. Oliveira to Law. Charles flicks it over the net. Milford tries to set up a kill attempt. Boaventura, and it is good, and he's flexing his muscles after that one. Gets some pats on the back from his teammates. An excellent set play that time for Milford after they were able to control possession. Milford has seemed to do very well when Oliveira is serving. Sends it to the back line. Hunter receives. DeFonseca saves it for Taunton, but it ends up with another point for Milford as his teammates weren't able to do anything with it despite the excellent effort from DeFonseca. Talk about a guy that filled up the stat sheet in the last game on March 30th between the two schools. DeFonseca with a kill, an ace, 2 blocks, 2 digs, and 18 assists versus Milford back on March 30th. Brown sends it over. DeFonseca sets up Charles, blocked at the net, but the block goes out of bounds, and Taunton regains the lead 12-11. Charles had 7 of those kills against Milford in the first game between these two schools. But now the serve goes out of bounds, and we're all tied up again at 12. Zachary Brown serving for Milford. Just barely over the net on Brown's serve. Running into the bench to save it is DeFonseca, and then running into the scorer's table is Malik Charles. Excellent effort on the Tigers' side, but ultimately results in a point for Milford. Brown certainly taking his time before he serves, slowing down the pace of play, which has been very rapid so far. Law with a flick over the net, right over the blockers, and a violation on the Milford side. Ends up in a point for Law and Taunton. Milford has not beaten Taunton since 2016. Milford 7-4 all-time versus Taunton. As the point goes back the Scarlet Hawks' way to take a 1-point lead. But as I was mentioning, Milford 7-4 all-time versus Taunton. But in the last 4 meetings, Taunton has taken all 4. Again, Milford hasn't beaten Taunton since 2016. Catano serving now for Milford, received by Taunton. Setting up Hunter. The powerful right-handed spike is good for a kill in the back right corner. Colin Hunter, we've seen him do that a few times. Must be encouraging for Coach Toby Chaperon to return him next season. Only a junior is Hunter. The serve by Kingman goes into the net. Both of these sides will return some valuable pieces next season. Taunton will end up losing Lance Law, Malik Charles, and Lenz Esquill, however. But they'll return Jason Kong, Colin Hunter, Chris LaCourse, Demir Santiago, Tyler Stewart, Alex Tavares, and Gage Kingman. Milford, however, only graduates 4 seniors. They'll return Miguel Torres, João Boaventura, Lucas Catano, who leads the team in assists. Boaventura leads the team in digs. Tiago Philadelphia will be back again next year. Zachary Brown is back. Josh Orellana will be back next season. Randy Monahan will be back as well. Tiago Carvalho, we've seen him in a few plays so far tonight. He'll be back next season. So a lot of pieces are returning for this Milford side. And now Taunton on a little burst right here, regains a 2-point advantage, 17-15. Catano sets up Philadelphia. And his kill attempt is good on a violation on the Taunton side. Carvalho serving for Milford. Sends his right hand through, just barely over the net, received by Law. The setup for Esquill from DeFonseca is good. Beautiful receive by Law. DeFonseca setting up Esquill, and results in another point for Taunton. They open up the lead to 2 yet again. Colin Hunter serving, but right into the net. And Milford gets the serve back and gets a point. Milford a 14-3 record this year, improving from a 9-12 record a season ago. DeFonseca setting up, or at least he tried to set up, Gage Kingman. Kingman wasn't expecting it, and ends up in a point for Milford. Orlana throws the ball high, swings his right arm through a little bit too hard, and the point goes Taunton's way. And Lenz Esquill will pick up the ball to take the serve. Orlana receives. Rivera sends it over. Sent back over by Taunton. Orlana setting up Rivera, blocked at the net by Taunton, but falls to the floor on Taunton's side. And Milford knots it back up at 19. Both teams coming off of wins. They actually both played yesterday. Milford a 3-2 victory over BC High. BC High is actually the team Milford played on senior day last season. Tonight is Milford senior night against Taunton. A kill attempt for Charles is good. Taunton coming off a 3-0 victory over Durfee yesterday. The serve from Taunton falls outside the back line. And both teams now fighting for 25 points here in this second set. It is win by 2. So if the score is 25-24, the teams will need to play until one team is at 25, but also beats the other team by 2. Taunton taking the first set. Looking for a 2-0 lead in this match. And now Coach Mainini wants an explanation after that ruling, which resulted in a Taunton point. Seems satisfied with the explanation, maybe not the result. But ultimately it doesn't matter. The point goes Taunton's way, and so does the serve. Orlana setting up Boaventura. A kill attempt from the middle of the court is received by Taunton. Oliveira, Orlana, Rivera blocked on the Taunton side, and it goes underneath the net, and Milford ties it back up at 21. A substitution on the Milford side. Catano checks in, replacing Rivera, who just got that point for Milford. Catano's the guy you want in the game if you're looking to get some points. Leads Milford with 367 assists this season, putting him in 6th in Massachusetts in Division I boys volleyball. Boaventura, the spike blocked, received by Taunton. Law sends it over the net. Milford scrambling, barely getting it over the net. Orlana keeping it alive. Brown doing his best. He ended up out of bounds. He wasn't able to punch it back into play. And Taunton takes a 1-point lead again. This really is shaping up to be deja vu. In the game earlier this season on March 30th, the second set was the most competitive. Taunton ultimately ended up taking that set, but it was 25-23 in favor of the Tigers. Now the Milford crowd is getting into it. Again, senior night here in the MHS Gymnasium. A lot of fans in attendance. An ace for Milford. Boaventura with the serve. He now has 36 aces this season. He had an ace in the game against Taunton on March 30th. This time, however, the Taunton Tigers are right in letting it go by, and Boaventura surrenders the serve and a point for Milford. Law with the serve, received by Milford. Catano setting up Oliveira, but a violation on the Taunton side. Excuse me, the ball was tipped. And now Milford just 1 point away from taking the second set. Carvalho serving for Milford. A chance to take the second set and knot this match up at 1. Catano, Brown, dug out by Law. And the kill for Esquivel is good. Taunton not going to go away easy. They don't surrender many sets, just 4 all season. 49 total sets played. Taunton has only lost 4. So now we're in the situation of win by 2. Next point does not take the set. Taunton with the serve, scramble on the Milford side. A kick attempt, Brown runs into his own bench. And now Taunton just 1 point away from taking the second set. Timeout on the floor. Coach Mainini wants to talk things over, realizing how deadly a 2-0 deficit can be. With the timeout, we will take it to Milford fighting for the second set lives. 25 to 24. Taunton already took the first set, and we'll be right back with the conclusion of this second set right here on Milford TV. Milford coming out of their timeout, hoping to salvage this second set. Down by 1 point in this second set. Taunton already took the first set, 25 to 24 in favor of the Tigers. A point for Taunton, and they take the second set. Hunter with the serve. Received by Milford. Catano setting up Brown. Kill is good. The second set heartbeat is still beating for Milford. A substitution on the Milford side. Catano will hit the bench. And Orlana serves for Milford. Again, both teams need to win by 2. Next point does not take the second set. Orlana, the serve received by Law. Kill for Esquivel. And Taunton has the answer. So Taunton again with the serve and a chance to take the second set. Esquivel with the kill, and now he'll serve it over the net. Received by Rivera. Orlana sets up Rivera. Flicked over a few blockers. Hunter there to receive. Charles with the kill attempt, blocked by Milford. They have an opportunity. Playing it off the net is Orlana, but he bumps it out of bounds. None of his teammates were able to give it another shot. And Taunton takes the second set and has a 2-0 advantage over Milford. Milford needs to win 3 sets in a row to win. Taunton hoping to get out of Milford Gymnasium early with a 3-0 victory. We'll have that third set for you right here on Milford TV coming up after the break. Taunton, 2-0 advantage over Milford from the MHS Gymnasium. Milford needing a comeback. A crucial third set here for both sides, mostly Milford. Taunton with a 2-0 advantage. A win in this set will send them home victorious for the second time against Milford this season. Milford, well, they hope to keep the heartbeat going a little bit. However, it's going to be tough. Taunton has only lost 4 sets all season long. Milford needs 3 sets in a row to come away with a victory. And it doesn't get off to a promising start for Milford. A serve for Andre Oliveira goes right into the net. And Taunton not only gets the first point of the third set, but they also get the serve. Carvalho with the receive. Boaventura with the setup. All the Milford players were at the line, and as that ball was deflected out after the kill attempt, nobody was there on the back line to salvage that point. And Milford down quickly, 2-0. Milford started the season with 2 straight losses to open up the 2018 season. Since then, they have only lost once. That came on April 20th against Lawrence High School. So an impressive season for Milford despite the sluggish start. Milford riding a 9-game winning streak coming into today's game against Taunton. Taunton, on the other hand, well, they're riding a very long winning streak. They haven't lost this season, 15-0, including 6-0 on the road, 9-0 at home. Milford 8-1 on the home court this season, 6-2 on the road. Both of these teams are already in the MIAA Division I Boys Volleyball Tournament. Hoping to have better success in the tournament this year, and both teams seem to be poised to do so. Milford lost to Millis as a 15 seed last year in the first round, whereas Taunton lost in 3 sets to Wellesley in the sectional quarterfinals. Kingman with the serve, received by Brown. Milford keeping it alive on their side, bumped over by Boaventura. DiFonseco setting up Law, doesn't go for Taunton. An attempt to the back left corner for Orlana is no good for Milford, and Taunton is off to a hot start in the third set, 5-1. Kingman with the serve, received by Oliveira. Orlana sets up Boaventura, a powerful right-handed arm swing, and the kill is good. The receive on the other end for Taunton goes well out of bounds, a good effort. But ultimately the point ends up on Milford's side. And Catano is in to serve for Milford. Catano was the only player to record an assist in the game for Milford when these two teams matched up on March 30th. That was a 3-0 victory for Taunton. Taunton looking for a repeat performance here, and with plays like that from Lance Law, they are well on their way. 6-2 in the third set. Taunton has already taken the first 2 sets. And now Law, after the kill, serves it over for Taunton. Orlana getting set up by one of his teammates, blocked by Esquivel. Now DiFonseco setting up Hunter. An attempt by Oliveira, but he can't dig it. Goes over towards the padded wall, and nothing Milford could do about it. And another timeout for Coach Andrew Mainini and the Milford Scarlet Hawks. Breaking the action, we'll take it to 7-2 in favor of Taunton. You're listening to Scarlet Hawks Athletics, Milford versus Taunton on Milford TV. Milford needing a comeback both in this set and in the match overall. Down 2-0 to the Taunton Tigers and down 7-2 in this third set. Taunton hoping for a repeat performance. They took the first game of the season series against Milford at Taunton High School by a score of 3-0. Orlana tried to flick it over the net, blocked down by Esquivel and Hunter, and a violation on the Milford side results in another point for Taunton. Law throws the ball high into the air in a powerful left-handed swing. Catano keeps it alive. But in the end, too hard on the return for Milford, and another point for Taunton. However, good hustle on the Milford side by Lucas Catano. Law's strong serve, a little bit too strong that time. Out of bounds in the back right corner, and Taunton surrenders the serve, and Milford gets a point and the serve. The Milford fans trying to ignite a little bit of life in the Scarlet Hawks players. Some former players in attendance here on senior night in the MHS Gymnasium. Milford celebrating the achievements of 4 seniors. Point goes back Taunton's way. The 4 seniors for Milford: Andre Oliveira, Bekongcho Amin Mense, Christopher Rivera, and Mikey Valentine. Tiago Philadelpho setting up one of his teammates, but received well by Taunton. Law, a powerful left-handed swing, however, kept alive by Catano. Milford sends it back over. DeFrancesco setting up Esquill, but Milford receives it cleanly. Now Esquill at the net to block it, and it just barely hung on the net long enough. A diving attempt on the Taunton side by Malik Charles. A valiant effort, but no good on the dig attempt. And Milford gets a point back. 10-4, still in favor of the Tigers. Tiago Philadelpho takes a seat for the Milford side, replaced by Tiago Carvalho. Malik Charles flicks it over to the Milford side, received by Milford. Orlana tried to flick it over a couple of blockers. He did successfully, but Taunton sent it right back over. Now Orlana trying to pinpoint it to the back left corner, but Taunton was ready for it. Catano setting up Brown. Brown with the kill attempt. A good volley here on both sides. A violation on Charles, and after the good volley, it ends up with a point for Milford. Carvalho with the serve, received by Hunter. Miscommunication on the Taunton side, and it ends up just being pounded into the net by Esquill. And now Milford slowly chipping into this Taunton lead, only down by 4 points now, 10-6. Carvalho to serve again. Received by Kingman. Charles with a powerful attack, but over the back line. And now Milford inching closer to Taunton, 10-7. Hunter the receive. DeFrancesco, a behind the back setup attempt for Esquill. And a point for Taunton, they get the serve back. Esquill to serve for Taunton. Too strong, over the back line. Milford gets the serve back. As I mentioned earlier, Taunton has not lost in the last 4 meetings to Milford. The last time Milford beat Taunton was back in 2016. Before that, though, Milford rattled off 7 straight wins against the Taunton Tigers. 11-9 now as a spike attempt on the Taunton side ended up right in the net. We're in the 3rd set. Taunton leads 2-0 in terms of sets. As far as this set, they lead 11-10, but Milford climbing back into it here. Orlana to serve. Received by Law. Bumped it over the net. Brown there for the block and sent it right back over. And again, miscommunication on the Taunton side. Knotted up at 11 apiece. And head coach Toby Chaperon wants to call timeout and settle his team down. Not an immediate threat here for Taunton. They still hold a 2-0 lead. But Coach Toby Chaperon does not want things to get out of hand, and he'll take the timeout, and we'll take it too on Milford TV. Taunton and Milford all tied up at 11 apiece. Milford fighting for their lives here, needing 3 sets in a row to come away victorious. We'll be right back with the rest of this boys volleyball game right here on Milford TV. It's Milford's serve, and it's in the hands of Josh Orlana. Leads the team with 48 aces this season. He's looking for a couple here to give Milford a lead. Tied up at 11-11 in the MHS Gymnasium. Anthony Mazzini with you. Law keeping it alive on the Taunton side, and Hunter bumps it over. Orlana sets up Rivera, blocked at the net, but it ends up on the Taunton side, and Milford has a lead in the second set. Orlana to serve again for Milford, now with a 1-point lead. Bumped high into the rafters here in the MHS Gymnasium, but it comes down, but Kingman wasn't able to keep it alive in the far left corner, and Milford now has a 2-point lead despite that Taunton timeout. Orlana serving again. Received by Law. DeFonseca setting up Charles. He sets it over. Dug out by Boaventura. Brown with the kill attempt, but it goes just out of bounds on the near side. And Taunton now hopes to regain order on their side, surrendering the lead, but now with the serve back. They still have a 2-0 lead, however. Malik Charles to serve for the Tigers. These Tigers certainly like to throw the ball high into the air before they serve. Miscommunication at the net for Milford. Zachary Brown had no choice but to just flick it over, and a little bit too strong along the far side. Into the stands it goes, and we're all knotted up at 13 apiece. Charles, received by Boaventura. DeFonseca setting up Law, hits the top of the net, comes back down on the Taunton side. The only one ready for it was Hunter, but a few players were in the way, and Milford regains the lead. Andre Oliveira to serve now for Milford. A 3-year varsity player and the captain for Coach Andrew Mainini. Law with the spike and the kill. A few block attempts at the net for Milford, but the ball ended up on the Milford side, and we're all tied up at 14 apiece yet again. Boaventura with the bump. Orlana setting up Brown. Block at the net, but it deflected to the right, and Milford gets the point. Trading points between Taunton and Milford. Milford with a 1-point advantage. Milford was down big in this first set and has come all the way back. And now Kingman just short arms that one. And now a 2-point lead for Milford. Taunton leads 2-0. Milford needs to win 3 sets in a row. Not going to be easy for the Scarlet Hawks. Taunton has only lost 4 sets all season long in 49 chances. But some more confusion and miscommunication on the Taunton side. And Milford now with a 3-point lead. Zachary Brown serving for Milford. Taunton thought it was out. All their players just watched it go by, but just inside, maybe hit the back line over there. And Zachary Brown keeping Milford's serve alive and giving them a 4-point lead. DeFonseca setting up Hunter. Milford with the deflection at the net, but it ends up in the stands, and Taunton gets a point back they desperately needed. And Kingman will take over the serve for Taunton. Received by Oliveira. High into the air. Gives Milford enough time to set something up. Orlana tried to set up Boaventura, but it was blocked at the net. And Taunton gets another point. Communication was an issue that time between Brown and Oliveira, but nonetheless, Milford keeps it alive. DeFonseca setting up Esquill, and he just dropped that one in where Milford was not present, right along the near side. Esquill certainly knows how to slam it home when he needs to, but dropped that one in right where he needed to. And Taunton back within one. Kingman to serve again for the Tigers. Orlana. Rivera. Blocked again. Hunter and Esquill were both there, and another point for Taunton. And they have stormed back from down 4. And head coach Andrew Mainini wants a timeout for Milford. This third set has been back and forth so far. Taunton opened up an early lead, only to see Milford climb back in it. Both sides traded points, a point apiece here and there. No more than a 2-point lead. Then Milford opened up that 4-point lead, and Taunton has rolled all the way back. We're tied up at 18 apiece. And with the timeout for Milford, we'll take it to Milford fighting for the match lives. Taunton hoping for an early exit from Milford High School with a 3-0 victory. Senior day in Milford High School's gymnasium has not gone the seniors' way so far. Milford trailing 2-0, but they're putting up a fight here in the third set, all tied up at 18 apiece. And a point for João Boaventura, and Milford just dropped that one in there, surprised the blockers on the Taunton side. And Milford has a 1-point lead yet again in this third set. Milford needs 3 sets in a row to walk away victorious. Serving for Milford now is Lucas Catano. 25 aces coming into today's game. Nothing that time. Esquill pointing up to the sky, wanting to see that assist attempt a little bit higher from Ricardo DeFonseca. Maybe part of the reason why that kill attempt went right into the net, but nonetheless, Milford now with a 20-18 lead in the third set. Catano the serve, received by Kingman. DeFonseca behind the head attempt for Law, but received well by Milford. Hunter. Esquill flicking it right over. A deflection on the Milford side, and it ends up in the stands. Taunton gets a point back, and they also regain the serve. Approaching 8 o'clock in the MHS Gymnasium. Anthony Mazzini with you. Milford scrambling on their side, but doing a good job to keep it alive. Charles just dunking that one in where there was no Milford player there. And we're all knotted up at 20 again. Taunton, the 5th-ranked team in the state of Massachusetts in Division I boys lacrosse, according to Max Prep's rankings. Milford in the top 25. Orlana, a stutter step to set himself up. Flicks it over a couple blockers, but Taunton does effective to keep that one alive. But ultimately into the net for Taunton, and Milford gets the point in the serve back. João Boaventura walking back to serve for Milford. The Scarlet Hawks only 4 points away from taking this third set and extending the match. Fonseca, the kill attempt for one of his teammates is good. Ricardo DeFonseca, that's his specialty, setting up his teammates, coming to today 487 assists. He had 18 assists in the game against Milford on March 30th, and he has a bunch more today. Oliveira. Kingman diving to the floor to keep it alive for Taunton. Orlana high into the air, giving Milford an opportunity to set something up. Tiago Filadelfo had to reset. The set attempt wasn't good. Boaventura, Catano, Orlana didn't get a good piece of it off the side of his hand. And Taunton has the lead back 22-21. A missed opportunity potentially that time for Milford. Good execution, but Orlana just wasn't able to get a good piece of it. Taunton 3 points away from sweeping Milford in 3 sets and sweeping the season series. But a bad serve from the Taunton side, and we're knotted up at 22 apiece. Tiago Philadelphio checking out, replaced by Tiago Carvalho. Carvalho immediately to serve. Received by Taunton. DeFonseca tried to just tap it over, but blocked by Milford. Another tap opportunity, and the point is going to go for Milford. Zachary Brown was shocked. He thought that was a violation on the Milford side, but he's going to happily take the points. Milford with the serve and the lead, trying to keep this match alive, down 2 sets. Carvalho to serve. Law, DeFonseca. Esquivel taps it right over a few blockers. Milford wasn't expecting that. And we're all tied up at 23. 2 straight points for Taunton. They go home victorious. Esquivel to serve. Catano. Olivero with the fake. Brown's spike attempt was blocked. And now a strong hit on the Milford side over the back line, and Taunton 1 point away from the sweep. Esquivel to serve. Boaventura, Catano, Brown, blocked at the net, and it lands on the Milford side in no man's land, and Taunton sweeps the match against Milford, sweeps the season series, ends the regular season on a high note, and spoils Milford senior night. The final score, 3-0 in favor of Taunton. They beat Milford 3-0 earlier this season, and capping off a phenomenal regular season for the Taunton Tigers, ending the regular season 16-0, including 7-0 on the road. Milford has 1 game remaining in the regular season. That game is on May 27th against Agawam, another tough test, the 4th-ranked team in the state of Massachusetts in Division I boys volleyball, according to Max Preps. Milford falls to 14-3 in the regular season and 8-2 on their home court. That's all for this presentation of Milford Athletics on Milford TV. For everyone here at Milford TV, including cameraman Rob O'Keefe, I'm Anthony Mazzini saying so long for now. This has been a presentation of Milford High School boys volleyball on Milford TV. So long, everyone.